Never have I ever jinxed a cup draw. Hi everyone and welcome to my reaction to the first round proper draw of the FA Cup, which of course took place today. In this video I'll be reacting to who the sides from the North East, North Yorkshire and Cumbria have got in the first round proper of the FA Cup. And let's of course start with my team Gateshead. And you may have seen on my Twitter/X account, or whatever you want to call it these days, that last night I said this. And would you believe it? It actually happened. We are away to Yeovil Town in the first round of the FA Cup. Of course, went there last season. It was a very, very long day. It was a totally grim result. It was quite possibly one of the most farcical away days I've ever had. So, if you seriously think I'm going to do it all again, then you're absolutely right. Yeah, not ideal in terms of distance, but all the same, a winnable tie. But then again, a tough tie. They're doing very well in the National League South just at the minute. Believe they're top of the league. Had a pretty good result yesterday as well against Southend United. So it's going to be a really tough game, but they've obviously got better since we played them last season. But then again, so have we. So I think this is going to be a tough one to call, actually. I think it may just come down to, quite simply, who performs better on a day. It might take a little bit of luck here and there. It might even need to come back to the international stadium, actually. I genuinely would not be surprised if that ends up being the case. And I would take that, actually. I think the main aim for us from this tie is to just not lose it, first and foremost. Well, not lose at Hewish Park, anyway. I know it's going to be a tricky task, but yeah, I'm sure again we'll be up for it. We'll be professional on the day. Like, we're not like underestimating them just because they got relegated and now in a lower league. So it's going to be an almighty tough test. But I would just like to say, I'm really sorry I put that tweet out. I just totally put the mockers on it, didn't I? But anyway, moving on from Gateshead, and another team that could be heading down to the West Country that weekend. Of course, these ties will be taking place on the weekend of the 4th and the 5th of November. And another team that could be heading to the West Country would be Whitby Town, provided they get past their replay against Chelmsford City. And should they do that, they would face a trip to Bristol Rovers, who I think Bristol Rovers are in League One, aren't they? So a pretty good incentive there for Whitby if they do get through. Like a really good chance to test themselves. I'd like to think they'd get a decent following going down to Bristol as well. So yeah, there's a pretty big prize on offer for Whitby, it has to be said. I mean, obviously Chelmsford will be seeing it the same way as well. So that really does make that tie on Tuesday night that bit more interesting than what it already was. I mean, it was already going to be a pretty interesting prospect, but so Whitby, provided they beat Chelmsford, will be heading to the Memorial Stadium to face Bristol Rovers in the next round. And another team that are facing a side from way down west would be Scarborough Athletic. If they get past Oxford City, they would face a home tie against League Two's Forest Green Rovers. Of course, last season on this channel, we saw Forest Green put South Shields out at that pretty ridiculous goal from Connor Wickham towards the end of the game. And Forest Green could well be heading to Scarborough this year, but of course Scarborough got a tough tie, a tough replay coming up against Oxford City. They were seconds away maybe yesterday from putting them out at the Flamingo Land Stadium, but now they find themselves having to travel to Court Place Farm at a few days' notice. It's going to be a tough test for them, but again, there's plenty of incentive there for them. And the thing is, Forest Green aren't doing all that well just now. And would they really fancy a trip up to Scarborough, where they're going to be playing in front of a pretty carnival atmosphere almost, a club like looking to work their way back? It'd be a very dangerous tie that for Forest Green, I must say. I mean, I think Oxford City is the same kind of thing. Like I think for the winners of the Scarborough against Oxford City game, or Oxford City against Scarborough, they'll both be looking at that game against Forest Green, and they'll see it as a chance, especially at home as well. So yeah, I mean, obviously living up this way, I'd quite like Scarborough to do it, and it's going to be an interesting one on Tuesday night. And as for York City, of course, yesterday they were held to a goalless draw at home by Needham Market, so they'll have to do it all again in the week. And the winners of that tie will face a trip to Chester. Of course, Chester getting a very impressive result yesterday away to Hartlepool, so that is not going to be an easy game for York by any means if they do make it past Needham Market. So yeah, I think that's a really interesting tie, that one. I think you'd expect York to win, but then again, like as we said, Chester will be confident after what I've just done yesterday. So yep, it's one that they'd have to approach with a lot of caution, I'd certainly say. Anyway, moving on to the AFL contingent of the region, Harrogate Town have landed themselves an away tie to Marine. Of course, Marine seems like it's almost uncanny, like how many sort of big results Marine get in cup competitions these days. They added another one to the list yesterday. They're beating FC Halifax Town. So yeah, that is a banana skin for Harrogate if ever there has been one before. So that is going to be an interesting tie, and honestly, one that I could genuinely see being on the TV. Of course, Marine famously playing against Tottenham a few years ago. They'll be looking to potentially get to that sort of stage again. But then again, it's a stage that Harrogate haven't really had a great deal of experience of getting to, and drawing out a big tie. So big game for Harrogate there as well. As for Carl United, they have an all League One tie against Leyton Orient. Obviously those two played each other yesterday. Leyton Orient coming out 1-0 winners at Brunton Park. This one will be at Brisbane Road, but again, I think that'll be a pretty close tie actually. Obviously two sides that went up together last season, and so they'll be perfectly familiar to each other, and it won't surprise me if that one ends up going back to Brunton Park actually. But finally, you have Barrow, who have been handed an away tie to Northampton Town. So that is pretty much the gist of it for the region that I sort of mainly for the region teams that I sort of mainly cover. Yeah, I've got a book travel and accommodation and what have you for Yeovil. Not exactly what I was hoping for, but as I said at the end of yesterday's video, we'll just have to get on with it, and it's as simple as that. And again, it's still a winnable tie for us. As I said, it's going to be a close tie, but I'm sure once I've sort of got over the fact that I have totally jinxed it, I'll sort of begin to look forward to it. But of course, before then, a few important league games to negotiate, and that is that for this video. And I'll be back on Tuesday night, and this channel is a little bit of an FA Cup festival at the minute, and on Tuesday night I am going to that Whitby Town versus Chelmsford City FA Cup replay. When that result came through yesterday, it was pretty much a no-brainer to go to that one. I mean, I did have one or two other options for Tuesday night, but yeah, when it's the FA Cup, and especially with that tight Bristol Rovers on the line now, it's a bit of a no-brainer to go. So really looking forward to that. But until Tuesday, take care. Cheers for watching. See you later.